One, two, one, two. How's it, guys? Live streaming again. This time I'm streaming some Elite Dangerous. Let's see how this goes. Been struggling a bit with the streams for whatever reason. The quality hasn't been perfect, but yeah, it's okay. So we're gonna fly around a little bit, do some exploring and that kind of stuff. I don't have much money in my tiki at this stage, but yeah, so we're just gonna have fun anyways. I'm not gonna talk too much. I'm just gonna fly and do a couple of things and check out a couple of things. We might join somebody, you know, one of my crew members or whatever, a little bit later. Might join us on the stream. I don't know. Let's see. King Tinsy, he might join us. I don't know. But let's just go and fly around a bit and see if we can have some fun. I'm going to just launch here. I don't know. Let's launch and see how the quality is. I have no idea how the quality of the stream's going to be or anything of that kind. So, and I'm also not actually watching what you guys are saying. So if you're leaving messages, I'll get back to you. Maybe I should just do that. I know you can't see. I haven't got my webcam on. Okay, let's go. Whoa. Well, it looks pretty good. Doesn't look too shabby. I don't know why that's not going away. That press shift to close this message. Shift tab. I'll do that now. A sec. Oh, why's my hard points? I have no idea why that popped up. I didn't even activate it. It just popped up by itself. Okay, just a sec. I want to just say the stream requires multiple errors. Press tab. Shift tab. Okay, shift tab. Oh, oh yeah. Okay, wonderful. Just a second. It's retracted landing gear. Still mass locked. I don't even know where I am. Let's take a look. Oh, looky there. There's a nice planet there. I don't think we can land on that. But anyways. Okay, guys, enjoy the stream. I'm going to log into another computer on my server there. Then I can see if you guys are leaving me some messages there. And so on. Okay, cool beans.
Frameshift charge detected. drive charging. Frameshift drive charging. charging.
Imperial Senator murdered. Imperial Senator Nestor Cartesius has been found dead at his home on Capitol. Regional media streams have confirmed that his death is being treated as a homicide. Captain Sutonia of the Imperial Internal Security Service conveyed the facts at a press conference. The body of Senator Cartesius was discovered in the early hours of this morning. There were no signs of a struggle, but we did discover a note that we assume was deliberately placed there by the murderer. The note read, "For Jameson. As is well known, last year the ship of historical figure Commander John de Jameson was located, following his final mission on behalf of the now-defunct Intergalactic Naval Research Arm. Presumably, this is the de Jameson to whom the note refers. IISS analysts have confirmed that Nestor Cartesius was directly descended from a senior member of the INRA. We therefore believe that this crime is connected to the recent rediscovery of INRA outposts. Our working hypothesis is that the motive was revenge, driven by perceived misconduct on the part of both the INRA and Cartesius's ancestor." Captain Sutonia concluded by saying the investigation was ongoing. Emperor Arisalavigny Duval made a brief statement. "The Empire has lost one of its staunchest champions, one whose name will never be forgotten. Rest assured that we will do everything in our power to find those responsible and bring them swiftly to justice." Rheingold Electronics Org campaign concludes. The Rheingold Electronics Org has announced that its campaign has reached a successful conclusion. Large quantities of research materials and mined resources were delivered to Wegner Market over the past week, allowing the Empire to proceed with the construction of a new pilot training center. A spokesperson for the Rheingold Electronics Org released the following statement. "As the dangers facing humanity become more potent, we must not become overly reliant on technology. Instead, we must seek to cultivate the human mind and unlock its boundless potential. Pilots who contributed to the initiative can now collect their rewards from Wegner Market in the Rhine system." The Rekahu Project. Angeli Imperial Enterprises, one of the Empire's key suppliers of foodstuffs and other consumables, has announced plans to build a Bowman-class science vessel. The construction initiative, dubbed the Rekahu Project, will allow the organization to increase the biodiversity of its crops. Once complete, the megaship will be deployed to the PLAA-AIN sector to research life on Earth-like worlds. The organization's spokesperson, Commander Blaine Crichton, released the following statement. "For a civilization with near-limitless energy and the ability to cross the stars in the blink of an eye, how is it that we still have systems experience?" The Rekahu Project. Angeli Imperial Enterprises, one of the Empire's key suppliers of foodstuffs and other consumables, has announced plans to build a Bowman-class science vessel. The construction initiative, dubbed the Rekahu Project, will allow the organization to increase the biodiversity of its crops. Once complete, the megaship will be deployed to the PLAA-AIN sector to research life on Earth-like worlds. The organization's spokesperson, Commander Blaine Crichton, released the following statement. "For a civilization with near-limitless energy and the ability to cross the stars in the blink of an eye, how is it that we still have systems experiencing famine? The Rekahu Project is an effort to change that, and to find new ways to keep even the poorest fed. In support of this goal, Angeli Imperial Enterprises has placed an open order for various commodities, promising to reward pilots who deliver these goods to Kanai Enterprise in the Blido Beru system. The organization has also placed a kill order on all ships on its wanted list, to ensure that those delivering goods to the starport can do so safely. The campaign begins on the 19th of April 3304 and will run for 1 week. If the final target is met earlier than planned, the campaign will end immediately." Peace in Her Time, a profile of Jasmina Halsey. Independent journalist Chukwuma Grant has published an article on peace activist and former federal president Jasmina Halsey. Grant has described the report as a wide-ranging analysis that addresses the political impact of a politician renouncing politics. Key extracts from the article are printed below. Some believe that Jasmina Halsey always intended to defect from the Federation and join the Alliance, where she currently acts as an advisor to Prime Minister Edmund Mahone. Others assert that after years of inhumane politics, her conscience broke through, that she sought meaning by helping others and striving for concord between the powers. But it was Starship One's destruction that transformed Halsey, something that she herself could not possibly have planned. Her subsequent visions made her politically toxic, at least as far as the Federation was concerned, allowing her to simply walk away from presidential life. In that escape pod, she escaped from more than an exploding ship, she escaped her previous self. Critics argue that Halsey's extraordinary claims of encountering superintelligent beings and seeing paradise are meaningless without evidence. And yet, in a cosmos containing Thargoids and Guardians, can they be easily dismissed? Or are her outlandish claims designed to cultivate a following among the disenfranchised, and make her into a messianic figure? If Halsey is walking a deliberate path, it remains an unstable one. Many in the Alliance have questioned why their leader is taking advice from a former psychiatric patient, let alone an ex-federal president. Whether she is a visionary, a lunatic, or a brilliant political manipulator remains to be seen. Starport Status Update. This report presents the latest data on Starport's experiencing technical issues as a result of Thargoid sensor-related interference. Ultralaport, Monoto. Antonelli Station, HR 1201. Izar Arena, Dekonduni. Bo Orbital, Abastimo. Corte Real Terminal, 1952, SETI. Hansen Station, HIP 95256. Harvey Ring, GI 606, 1B. MacDivid Port, Wolf 1022. Reed Dock, Monoto. Solovyev Colony, Karkunas. Talos 1, Peregrina. Talos 2, Peregrina. Thomas Klein, Talin. Y Delta Station, Karkunas. Meanwhile, the following starports are on the brink of closure. Berkiley Ring, HIP 3336. Pharma Laboratory, Lingdetti. Ford Hub, Kaka. Hutton Dock, Kaka. Kanawar Orbital, Zutools. Kremens Respite, Coyote 368. Rand Dock, HIP 33368. Rigo Survey, HIP 22229. Tana City, V886 Centauri. Walker Port, HIP 14886. Wagner Market, Rind. Wolheim Vision, Fulham. Young Station, Lingdetti. Week in Review. Here are this week's major stories. Princess Aisling Duval's comments about teachers have attracted a measure of support. One Imperial senator suggested that Duval had correctly gauged the mood of the people, while another commentator suggested that her comments were a sign of maturity. Meanwhile, an independent report suggests that piracy has declined since the return of the Thargoids. The author of the report has suggested that the presence of an alien threat has dampened felons' appetite for preying on fellow humans. Security forces in the Pegasus sector have refuted these suggestions, however. The Empire has announced plans to build a new training center for novice pilots, and has placed an open order for research materials and mined resources for use in the construction. Once complete, the center will be home to a state-of-the-art training program designed to create the next generation of Starship pilots. In other news, astronomers based in the Solar System may have detected a signal from New Horizons, a space probe launched in 2006 with a mission to study various objects in the Kuiper Belt. One of the astronomers responsible for the find gave details of the object's approximate location, and encouraged explorers to seek it out. Finally, a spokesperson for the Atlas Corporation has announced that its campaign to build a megaship has reached a successful conclusion. A parallel initiative from the Privateers Alliance has also achieved its aims, after the organization's appeal for commodities was enthusiastically received by the galactic community. And those are the main stories this week. Pirates vs. Thargoids. A new independent report suggests that piracy has declined across occupied space since the return of the Thargoids. Dr. Jin Ramir, who runs a socio-political think tank, made the following observations in her report. Statistics show a significant reduction in piracy and criminal behavior since the Thargoid presence was confirmed. But the reason has not come under scrutiny until now. Has the presence of an alien threat dampened felons' appetite for preying on fellow humans? It's widely understood that communities become stronger when faced with a common enemy, so perhaps one positive consequence of the Thargoids' return is the dissolution of barriers between social groups. Alternatively, those attracted to piracy may find a greater, and less morally troubling thrill in turning their weapons on non-human targets. Whether or not their motives are altruistic, criminal elements may be transforming into defenders of the very societies they have previously terrorized. But a spokesperson for security forces in the Pegasus sector responded. Dr. Ramir needs to get out of her comfortable office and into the black. The Kuma crew have raided dozens of systems in recent months, taking advantage of the fact that our forces are tied up with the Thargoids. Believe me, Archon Delane sees the Thargoids as an opportunity, not a common enemy. The pirates don't care if the galaxy burns, as long as their pockets are full. Privateers Alliance campaign concludes. A spokesperson for the Privateers Alliance has announced that its appeal for commodities has been enthusiastically received by the galactic community, resulting in a massive influx of deliveries.
Frameshift drive charging.
Bart Chauvel Station, the organization's base of operations. Construction will now begin on a new military installation in the HIP 33368 system to resist the Thargoid threat. The Privateers Alliance has extended its gratitude to those who supported the campaign. Pilots who contributed to the initiative can now collect their rewards from Bart Chauvel Station in the HIP 33368 system. Atlas Corporation initiative concludes. A spokesperson for the Atlas Corporation has announced that its campaign to build a megaship in the Lambda Array system has reached a successful conclusion. Hundreds of manpower taking damage. It supported the initiative by delivering commodities to Ready Market, and by eliminating agitators in Lambda Array, thereby allowing traders to operate safely. As the campaign drew to a close, a spokesperson for the Atlas Corporation released the following statement. We would like to thank the pilots who helped us achieve our goal. We appreciate the assistance of each and every one of you. Pilots who contributed to the initiative can now collect their rewards from Ready Market in the Lambda Array system. Ryan Gold Electronic Sorg campaign. The Empire has announced an initiative to bolster the superpower's military strength. The initiative centers on a new training program designed to create the next generation of Starship pilots. A spokesperson for the Ryan Gold Electronic Sorg, which is overseeing the initiative, released the following statement. Over the past 6 months, a research group based in Akana has developed a state-of-the-art training program designed to cultivate applicants' reflexes, coordination, perception, and cognitive abilities. Provisional tests indicate that students in the full flush of youth, unburdened with superfluous knowledge, respond extremely well to the program, resulting in combat pilots of unprecedented skill. In support of this initiative, the Ryan Gold Electronics Org has placed an open order for research materials, which will be used to manufacture essential apparatus. The organization has also issued an appeal for a range of mined resources, which will be used to construct a dedicated training center for the new program. The campaign begins on the 12th of April 3304 and will run for 1 week. If the final target is met earlier than planned, the campaign will end immediately. Support for Aisling
Frameshift drive charging.
Duval. Princess Aisling Duval's recent comments about the effectiveness of Aegis have attracted a measure of support. One of the most prominent figures to express solidarity is Imperial Senator Pal Vest. Who said, "One cannot accuse Aegis of being completely ineffective, but perhaps Her Highness has correctly gauged the mood of the people. A handful of minor victories is simply not enough to allay widespread fear of conquest. There can be no half measures in this situation. If we do not defeat the Thargoids, our civilization could fall." Meanwhile, Commodore Irene McAllister of the Alliance Defense Force said, I can certainly refute Princess Duval's
Frameshift drive charging.
suggestion that the other powers have not made equal contributions to Aegis. She makes a good point, however, with regard to military strategy. Greater transparency around Aegis's long-term plans would lead to more coordinated effort in resisting Thargoid forces. Past Fernandez, chief editor of an independent media outlet, focused on how the public might be starting to view the princess differently. That Aisling is widely seen as the stereotypical heiress, materially prosperous, but intellectually deficient. But could this have been a public mask that she is now discarding? Or perhaps the young princess is finally maturing and developing some genuine critical faculty? Either way, it's no surprise that
Frameshift drive charging.
he's found an audience, something she has always excelled at. Signal could be ancient probe. Astronomers based in the solar system may have detected a signal from New Horizons. The space probe launched in 2006 with a mission to study various objects in the Kuiper Belt. One of the astronomers responsible for the find said, New Horizons was launched over 1,000 years ago, so this is potentially quite an exciting discovery. We haven't been able to pinpoint the object's precise location, but our data indicates that it is approximately 1,726,716 light seconds from the Sun, and 1,526,050 light seconds from 903.
Disengaged.
377 Sedna. Perhaps some intrepid explorer will seek it out and confirm our suspicions. Starport status update. This report presents the latest data on Starport's experiencing technical issues as a result of Thargoid sensor-related interference. The following starports are currently closed. Bow Orbital, Abast Samo. Corte Real Terminal, 1952, SETI. Harvey Ring, GI606, 1B. Desire Arena, Dakonduni. Cayley Enterprise, Wolf 359. MacDivitt Port, Wolf 1022. Soloviev Colony, Karkinas. Stabenow Reformatory, Peregrina. Talos 1, Peregrina. Talos 2, Peregrina. Wee Burdock, Meme. Y Delta Station, Karkinas. Meanwhile, the following starports are on the brink of closure. Ulchala Port, Monoto. Antonelli Station, HR 1201. Beadle Port, Pyama. Hansin Station, HIP 95256. Reed Dock, Monoto. Thomas Claim, Talin. Genesis of the Thargoids. Professor Cora Shaw, director of the Palin Institute, has published a paper speculating on the origin of the Thargoids. Extracts from her paper are reprinted below.
Frameshift drive charging.
Considering the Thargoids' impact on our civilization, it is disturbing that we still know so little about them. Information from Guardian sites has shed some light on the Thargoids' ancient history, but it's clear they were an established spacefaring species long before they encountered the Guardians. So where did the Thargoids come from? We know that the Thargoids are insectoid in nature with an affinity for ammonia-based worlds. This suggests they may have evolved in a harsh, low-temperature environment, which might explain their developed survival instincts and aggressive nature. But we also know the Thargoids are experts
Frameshift drive charging.
in bioengineering, so they may have augmented their own biology to a point where natural evolutionary processes are meaningless. Since much of the Milky Way remains uncharted, the Thargoid homeworld might be beyond known space, or on the other side of the galaxy, if it exists at all. It's possible they are now a nomadic species, existing entirely in space, or within fabricated hives of some kind. It may even be that they have journeyed across millions of light years, from Andromeda, or beyond, like a swarm of locusts seeking fresh crops to consume. Other theories are more esoteric, but worthy of exploration. We know that their vessels are capable of hovering in hyperspace, suggesting that
Fuel scoop disengaged. Frameshift drive charging.
space is comfortable for them. Could living beings actually originate from hyperspace? Alternatively, they may be using hyperspace as a conduit from a dimensional plane entirely separate from real space.
3, 2,
The Thargoids may not just be extragalactic in origin, but extra-universal. New designs from technology brokers. A range of new Guardian-inspired modules are available from the galaxy's technology brokers. These modules have been developed by the engineer Rantar. Following his acquisition of data from Guardian sites, pilots can now purchase a Guardian power distributor, a Guardian FSD booster, and a Guardian shard cannon. The cannon is available in both fixed and turreted versions. An independent engineering specialist made this comment. These Guardian human hybrid modules offer
frameshift drive charging.
additional resilience and firepower, both very welcome to commanders flying combat missions. By taking advantage of the Guardians' expertise, we may be able to replicate their success in fighting the Thargoids.
3, 2,
Week in review. Here are this week's major stories. Aegis has constructed 2 megaships, the Acropolis and the Vanguard, to help counter the Thargoid threat. These ships will coordinate anti-Thargoid operations and support independent pilots.
fuel scooping.
Aegis has confirmed that both vessels will periodically to wherever they can be strategically effective. Meanwhile, many members of the Pilots Federation have responded to the recent Aegis report detailing the Thargoids' history. One commander admitted he was disturbed to discover that the Thargoids had been around for millions of years, and that even the Guardians had found it difficult to stop them. But other pilots were more forthright, with one reminding the galactic community that the Thargoids are not invincible. In other news, conflict has erupted between ROS 310 Natural Services, the controlling faction of the ROS 310 system, and the ROS 310 Cartel, a criminal organization also based in the region. It is understood that
Frameshift drive charging.
ROS 310 Cartel is attempting to overthrow ROS 310 Natural Services and assume control of the system. Both organizations have issued calls for aid, appealing to independent and pilots for support. Finally, the EG Union has announced that its campaign to build a shipyard in ROS 720 has received the wholehearted support of the galactic community. Hundreds of pilots
Taking heat damage.
supported the initiative by delivering commodities to Lyakov Dock and by eliminating
Fuel scooping.
agitators in ROS 720 and surrounding systems, thereby ensuring the safety of trade.
Fuel scoop disengaged.
And those are the main stories this week. Starport status update. This report presents the latest data
Frameshift drive charging.
on Starport's experiencing technical issues as a result of Thargoid sensor-related interference. The following starports are currently closed. Corte Real Terminal, 1952, set.
3, 2,
Bo Orbital, Abast Simone. Harvey Ring, GI-606, 1B. Meanwhile, the following starports are on the brink of closure. Bizarro Arena, Secondini, Big Papa's Base, Andremi, Cayley Enterprise, Wolf 359, Dionysus, HIP 17044, Gardner Port, Siliki Islands,
frameshift drive charging.
Malanchenko City, Coma, MacDivitt Port, Wolf 1022, Soloviev Colony, Carkillers, Stabenow Reformatory, Peregrina, Talos.
3, 2,
1. Peregrina. Talos 2. Peregrina. Wee Burdock. Meme. Y Delta Station. Carkillers. Order is stored in ROS 310. authorities in the Ross 310 system have confirmed that the conflict between Ross 310
Fuel scoping.
Natural Services and the
Fuel scope disengaged.
Ross 310 cartel has come to an end.
Frameshift drive charging.
Both factions received support from independent combat pilots, to whom generous rewards were promised. But ultimately, there could be only one victor. Pilots who participated in the conflict can now collect their rewards from Mori Port in the Ross 310 system. Aisling Duval criticizes Aegis. In a public interview, Princess Aisling Duval leveled criticism of Aegis in relation to the ongoing Thargoid conflict. The people are scared, she said. They
Fuel scoping.
fear that their way of life, their very existence, might vanish.
Disengaged.
Small is done to protect them. I'm not convinced Aegis is capable of doing so.
Frameshift drive charging.
The Empire has invested heavily in the organization. Are we sure the other powers have done the same? It has taken far too long for Aegis to determine why the Thargoids are attacking, and it's not clear what... The strategy is now. If we are to trust them to defend humanity, we need to see more obvious progress. Although Princess Duval has received some support for her viewpoint, the Federal Times offered a specific rebuttal. Apart from undertaking scientific research, developing defensive systems, producing anti-Thargoid weaponry, creating the Eagle Eye surveillance network, building 2 military megaships, and actively engaging Thargoid forces in combat. What has Aegis ever done for us? A media spokesperson for the Alliance was equally dismissive. This is nothing more than public posturing, an attention-seeking gambit from someone who is no longer as newsworthy as she once was. Aegis has made incredible breakthroughs and is clearly dedicated to ending the Thargoid War. Privateers Alliance campaign. The Privateers Alliance has announced plans to build a military installation in the HEP 33368 system. The installation will reinforce the gates by defending the core systems from Thargoid forces in the Pleiades. A spokesperson for the Privateers Alliance released the following statement. We need to make a show of strength. That is why we are humbly requesting the help of the galactic community in building this installation. Once complete, it will allow pilots from across the galaxy, irrespective of their allegiance, to work together in resisting the Thargoid threat. In support of this goal, the Privateers Alliance has placed an open order for various commodities, and has pledged to reward pilots who deliver these commodities to Bard Charvel Station, in the HIP 33368 system. The campaign begins on the 5th of April 3304 and will run for 1 week. If the final target is met earlier than planned, the campaign will end immediately. The ACS Overwatch. The Atlas Corporation has launched a campaign to build a megaship in the Lambda Array system. The vessel, which will be named the ACS Overwatch, will fulfill the multifaceted role in the ongoing fight against the Thargoids. A spokesperson for the Atlas Corporation said, the ACS Overwatch will serve as a coordination point for rescue missions and anti-Thargoid operations, as well as being a valuable resupply point and a safe haven for the people of Lambda Array. In support of this goal, the Atlas Corporation has placed an open order for various commodities, promising to reward pilots who deliver the requested goods to Ready Market in the Lambda Array system. The organization has also placed a kill order on all ships on its wanted list, to ensure that those delivering commodities to Ready Market can do so safely. The campaign begins on the 5th of April 3304 and will run for 1 week. If the final target is met earlier than planned, the campaign will end immediately. Independent pilots respond to Thargoid revelations. Following the recent Aegis report detailing the Thargoids' history, many members of the Pilots Federation have made public statements. Everything is different now, said one commander. It was disturbing enough when the Thargoids returned, to find out they've been around for millions of years, and that even the Guardians had trouble stopping them. It's like being told that the ancient gods, the vengeful ones who smite from above, were real all along. Other pilots had more practical concerns about the impact on the galactic community. What worries me is when they start up their strip mining operation, which seems to be on the cards, said an experienced trader. I transport ores and metals between dozens of planets. If those planets end up being gutted of minerals, that's my livelihood gone out the airlock. There were also emotional comments from those who value space exploration. I bought a ship to discover what's out there, you know, to voyage into the black. But now, knowing the Thargoids were there long before us, and might have infested anywhere we go. The black's theirs already, it was always theirs. However, one seasoned commander struck a belligerent tone. All the Aegis report tells us is that these alien scumbags can be beaten. The Guardians did it once, now it's our turn. I've fought the Thargoids in the Pleiades, and I know they're not invincible. With Aegis's new weapons and now their megaships, we can make those insects wish they'd stayed in their hives. Week in review. Here are this week's major stories. Aegis has constructed 2 megaships, the Acropolis and the Vanguard, to help counter the Thargoid threat. These ships will coordinate anti-Thargoid operations and support independent pilots. Aegis has confirmed that both vessels will periodically relocate to wherever they can be strategically effective. Meanwhile, many members of the Pilots Federation have responded to the recent Aegis report detailing the Thargoids' history. One commander admitted he was disturbed to discover that the Thargoids had been around for millions of years, and that even the Guardians had found it difficult to stop them. But other pilots were more forthright, with one reminding the galactic community that the Thargoids are not invincible. In other news, conflict has erupted between Ross 310 Natural Services, the controlling faction of the Ross 310 system, and the Ross 310 Cartel, a criminal organization also based in the region. It is understood that the Ross 310 Cartel is attempting to overthrow Ross 310 Natural Services and assume control of the system. Both organizations have issued calls for aid,
Orbital flight engaged.
appealing to independent combat pilots for support. Finally, the EG Union has announced that its campaign to build a shipyard in Ross 720 has received the wholehearted support of the galactic community. Hundreds of pilots supported the initiative by delivering commodities to Lyakov Dock and by eliminating adjutant in Ross 720 and surrounding systems, thereby ensuring the safety of traders. And those are the main stories this week. Anti-Thargoid megaships deployed by Aegis. Aegis has constructed 2 megaships, the Acropolis and the Vanguard, to help counter the Thargoid threat. The announcement came from Admiral Vintana, who explained the ship's purpose. It is vital that Aegis has a military presence in the theater of conflict. These new ships will coordinate anti-Thargoid operations wherever they are deployed, and will support independent pilots. In response to recent Thargoid incursions, the Acropolis has been dispatched to the Lunguni system, while the Vanguard is operating in the Mentor system. However, their key advantage over a starport or base is their mobility, so both will periodically relocate to wherever they can be strategically effective. Admiral Tanner went on to stress the importance of the development. Constructing these 2 gigantic vessels was a considerable undertaking for Aegis, but we are convinced the expense and effort is worthwhile. Our remit requires us to occupy a guiding role in the resistance against the Thargoids, and these megaships will bring that into focus. Thargoid sites go quiet. Admiral Vintana, Aegis's chief military liaison, has released a statement concerning the Thargoid structures currently under surveillance in the Pleiades Nebula. Undoubtedly, the most positive outcome of our Eagle Eye initiative is that it has allowed us to determine which locations the Thargoids intend to attack. This has proved invaluable in our ongoing fight against the Thargoids. It appears, however, that the sites are currently dormant, as no energy level fluctuations have been detected for several days. Hopefully this means we can look forward to a temporary reprieve from Thargoid attacks. Our military flagships, the Vanguard and the Acropolis, will remain on standby in HEP 21559 and Erandan until needed. Conflict in Ross 310. Conflict has erupted between ROS 310 Natural Services, the controlling faction of the ROS 310 system, and the ROS 310 Cartel, a criminal organization also based in ROS 310. It is understood that the ROS 310 Cartel is attempting to overthrow ROS 310 Natural Services and assume control of the system. Toru Jacobs, a member of ROS 310 Natural Services, issued the following statement. The ROS 310 Cartel is well equipped and highly organized, and there's a very real chance they could take control of the system, but the brave men and women of ROS 310 Natural Services are doing everything they can to prevent that from happening. Both organizations have issued calls for aid, appealing to independent combat pilots for support. Commanders who participate in the conflict will be generously rewarded by their chosen faction. The ROS factions have set out cartel-long operations to take control of the system, which will begin on the 29th of March 3304. EG Union campaign concludes. The EG Union has announced that its campaign to build a shipyard in CPC 206743 has received the wholehearted support of the galactic community. Hundreds of pilots supported the initiative by delivering commodities to Lyakov Dock, and by eliminating agitators in CPC 206743 and surrounding systems, thereby ensuring the safety of traders. Pilots who contributed to the initiative can now collect their rewards from Lyakov Dock, in the CPC 206743 system. Starport status update. This report presents the latest data on starports experiencing technical issues as a result of Thargoid sensor-related interference. The following starports are currently closed. Alien Platform, Kamahu, Korte Real Terminal, 1952, SETI, Kurland Hub, Belasuk, Palmyr Dagonoville Escape, Col 285 Sector, NJG, C1125, Bow Orbital, Abast Simo. Meanwhile, the following starports are on the brink of closure. White Enterprise, Nan Sapwi, Ramsey Hub, So Ling, Harvey Ring, GI-606, 1B. Aegis Thargoid report causes ripples. A recent report from Aegis, outlining the Thargoids' history and their interactions with the Guardians, has elicited a wide range of responses. A brief statement was released by Federal President Zachary Hudson. It is now clear that there is no reasoning with this alien menace. The Federation remains dedicated to wiping out any threat to our citizens. Imperial Admiral Denton Patrius adopted a similar viewpoint. This new information makes it clear that the Thargoids will reject any diplomatic overtures. We must redouble our efforts to defend ourselves from their antagonism. Meanwhile, Professor Palin observed, Aegis's report
deployed.
forewarns us, and perhaps forearms us too. We now know that the Guardians developed technologies capable of resisting the Thargoids' aggression. Therefore, it is not unreasonable to hope that the weaponry being developed by Ramtar based on Guardian designs might help us replicate the Guardians' success and defeat the Thargoids. Week in review. Here are this week's major stories. Aegis has published a report containing significant insights into the Thargoids. The information was provided by the engineer Ramtar, compiled from recently decrypted logs at Guardian sites. The report indicates that the Guardians and the Thargoids were once at war, due to the Thargoids' belief that they had a pre-existing claim to the regions of space occupied by the Guardians. Professor Albert Isro, head of research at Aegis, said, "It is clear that our current situation echoes that of the Guardians. Our space, like theirs, was seeded with barnacles thousands of years ago, and now the Thargoids have arrived to reap the biomechanical harvest." The Aegis report has elicited a wide range of responses. Federal President Zachary Hudson said, "It is now clear that there is no reasoning with this alien menace," while Imperial Admiral Denton Patrius commented, "This new information makes it clear that the Thargoids will reject any diplomatic overtures. We must redouble our efforts to defend ourselves from their antagonism." Meanwhile, the operation to clear Soch show of Thargoids has reached a successful conclusion. Scores of pilots supported the campaign by eliminating Thargoid vessels in the system, and by delivering alien material to Dantec Enterprise. A spokesperson for Aegis Corps, which oversaw the initiative, thanked those who participated. In other news, Yuri Grom has announced an initiative to create a new shipyard in the CPC 206743 system. The shipyard will produce capital ships with which to defend human space from both human and alien threats. Finally, the Sirius Corporation has announced plans to expand its presence in the Ceos and Sothis systems. The expansion will involve the construction of several new starports, settlements and megaships. And those are the main stories this week. Socho operation complete. The operation to clear Socho of Thargoids has reached a successful conclusion. Scores of pilots supported the campaign by eliminating Thargoid vessels in the system, and by delivering alien material to Dantec Enterprise. A spokesperson for Aegis Corps, which oversaw the initiative, made the following statement. The pilots who took part in the operation have my thanks. They showed some real mettle. I can't promise the material they delivered will lead to any momentous discoveries, but you never know. Pilots who contributed to the initiative can now collect their rewards from Dantec Enterprise in the Socho system. Sirius Corp announces expansion. The Sirius Corporation has announced that it will be expanding its presence at 2 locations just outside the core systems. A spokesperson for Sirius made this statement.
Drive assist on. Low gravity warning. Cargo scoop deployed.
Imperial Senator murdered. Imperial Senator Nestor Cartesius has been found dead at his home on Capitol. Regional media streams have confirmed that his death is being treated as a homicide. Captain Suetonia of the Imperial Internal Security Service conveyed the facts at a press conference. The body of Senator Cartesius was discovered in the early hours of this morning. There were no signs of a struggle, but we did discover a note that we assume was deliberately placed there by the murderer. The note read, "For Jameson. As is well known, last year the ship of historical figure Commander John Jameson was located, following his final mission on behalf of the now-defunct Intergalactic Naval Research Arm. Presumably, this is the Jameson to whom the note refers. ISS analysts have confirmed that Nestor Cartesius was directly descended from a senior member of the INRA. We therefore believe that this crime is connected to the recent rediscovery of INRA outposts. Our working hypothesis is that the motive was revenge, driven by perceived misconduct on the part of both the INRA and Cartesius's ancestor." Captain Suetonia concluded by saying the investigation was ongoing. Emperor Arisalavigny Duval made a brief statement. "The Empire has lost one of its staunchest champions, one whose name will never be forgotten. Rest assured that we will do everything in our power to find those responsible and bring them swiftly to justice." EG Union Campaign. Yuri Grom has announced an initiative to create a new shipyard in the CPC 206743 system. The shipyard will produce capital ships with which to defend human space from both human and alien threats. The EG Union, acting on behalf of Yuri Grom, has placed an open order for various commodities to build the shipyard, and has promised to reward pilots who deliver these commodities to Lyakov Dock. In the CPC 206743 system, the organization has also placed a kill order on all ships on its wanted list, to ensure that pilots delivering commodities can do so safely. The spokesperson elaborated on the nature of the campaign. Recent events
Landing gear deployed.
have demonstrated that humanity is not prepared for a possible Thargoid invasion. Building a shipyard for Farragut-class ships is the first step in establishing a defensive perimeter. It is essential that traders do not encounter any difficulty when delivering materials, which is why the EG pilots, Yuri Grom's elite task force, have been asked to eliminate any
Scan detected.
agitators. We are also asking independent combat pilots to help us neutralize any threats. The campaign begins on the 22nd of March 3304 and will run for 1 week. If the final target is met earlier than planned, the campaign will end immediately. Thargoid Revelations. Aegis has published a report containing significant insights into the Thargoids. The information was provided by the engineer Antar, compiled from recently decrypted logs found at Guardian sites. Key extracts from the report are reprinted below. The codices indicate that the Thargoids may be an older race than the Guardians, and that the two species share a history of conflict. This hostility was a product of the Thargoids' belief that they had a pre-existing claim to the regions of space occupied by the Guardians. The Guardians attempted to communicate with the Thargoids, but these efforts ended in failure. They determined that the Thargoids' survival instincts were so strong that they could not tolerate any potential threat, including the proximity of another spacefaring civilization. It is now clear that the Guardians' defensive drones and advanced weaponry were developed principally to protect their worlds from the Thargoids. Although details are scant, it seems these war machines eventually succeeded in repelling the Thargoids. Professor Albert Isro, head of research at Aegis, publicly commented on the report. Thanks to Ramtara and the brave pilots who explored Guardian sites, some of our questions about the Thargoids have been answered. It is clear that our current situation echoes that of the Guardians. Our space, like theirs, was seeded with barnacles thousands of years ago, and now the Thargoids have arrived to reap the biomechanical harvest. We now know that the purpose of the Thargoids' ongoing military offensive is to remove humanity from what they consider their territory. If the Thargoids adopt the same modus operandi as with the Guardians, their next move will be to start aggressively mining mineral resources. There is no evidence this has yet begun, however. Ramtar has also made a statement about the impact of the findings. Until now, the Thargoids have been shrouded in mystery, and their objectives have been unclear. For the first time, we have an insight into what drives them, why they are attacking us, and what their overall goals are. This is a historically significant discovery that I believe will make a huge difference to this conflict, and perhaps to humanity's survival.
Scan detected. Cannot comply. Landing gear retracted.